Are you an introvert who thinks that being an introvert is hurting your friendships or makes it hard to make friends? Want to spend a couple of minutes, which does not do it justice, but let me start by just giving a couple of tips, a couple words of wisdom that might be of help to some of you. One of the things that I want to clarify on introverts is that there is a difference between being an introvert and being shy. So there's a scale where you can be shy versus non-shy. So that's more about how much anxiety you feel about interacting with people. And then there's introvert and extrovert. And that's more where you get your energy. And so you can be a shy extrovert, which means you are energized being around people, but feel a lot of social anxiety. Or you can be a non-shy introvert, where you could talk all day long if you had the energy for it, but you are happy asking questions and interacting, and people might be surprised with your people skills, because we so often make this huge mistake thinking that introverts don't have social skills and all that stuff, and that's just not the truth. What we're talking about here are just recognizing that we're all wired differently, that some of us tend to get overwhelmed, energetically exhausted, or feel some anxiety when it comes to interacting with others. And so that's going to look different on each of us, and we all are on that spectrum somewhere. I get anxious. I'm more of a shy extrovert at times. I probably lean that way, so I totally know that feeling. So I just want to share a few tips, and I hope they're helpful. The first one I would just say is do it your way, like truly. You do have to socialize. You do have to get out and meet people, but that might mean, like if you have to go into a big room, it might mean just finding another introvert on the edges and go over and just talk and have a deep conversation with one or two people. That's okay. There's no rule that you have to work the room. You might walk away with more connection and closer to your goal of developing a friendship than somebody who gathered 20 business cards. Or maybe for some of you, you've got an extrovert friend that you can tag along with, and that feels better to you. But definitely think through and imagine, like when you're in those settings, what feels the best? What feels meaningful? What feels helpful? So don't just think what feels easy, because you're there, so you're going to be putting energy out, but just think through what would help lead to the goal. What outcome do you want? And do it your way. Honor yourself. It is completely okay to, and you know that, but just the reminder. It's good for us to remember we're all wired differently. Be true to yourself. The other thing I would say about that is that honor your restoration time. Sometimes we need the time before or after an event, and I build that in. When I come home for a trip, I build in a lot of back-end recovery time. And I do it for the front end too. I don't go out and meet a whole bunch of people the night before or go network all day long. Be mindful that if you're going to put this energy out, you need to be strategic about it and save your energy. Do things that energize you. Like recognize it as an investment that needs to be done and serves you and benefits you, so you want to connect. But it's okay to say, okay, I only have X amount of energy, so I'm going to spend it at this event and talking to people. So what else can I do today to protect my energy or to fill my energy? And so think of it as energy that you are investing, and that's what it is, and it's an important thing to do. You need, introverts and shy people need relationships the same way. You are wired, you are human, it is a human need. And so what you need and how many you need, it might look different, but you need it. So the question isn't whether you need to go meet people, it's how to do it in a way that feels good to you. The other thing that I found that works for a lot of introverts is joining something. So if you have a hard time as an introvert, if your hard thing is initiating or reaching out or picking up the telephone or making plans, then that would be a great thing to join something where that's already in place. So think about work and places you already frequent as a potential place, because you don't have to invite them. You can just maximize that time wherever you're already hanging out with some people, whether it's at a religious organization or your kid's school or your spouse's network, wherever it is. Just maximize what you already have there, or join a class, join something that's interesting to you. But you can't just go join a class and sit there and just do the classwork, right? Like you're joining in order to meet people, and that would let that build the consistency for you, so you don't have to worry about the inviting and the scheduling and the asking somebody to meet you kind of a thing. And you will have to get to that point. Every relationship has to build off of that structure, whatever structure built it. We need to practice doing things on our own outside of it. But you might find it easier to start with something where the pressure is not on you to make that schedule happen, because you have to log the hours, and I've got videos on that, but you have to put the time in. You have to have consistency. So if you have a hard time reaching out or inviting somebody to something or planning something or keeping in touch with them on the phone, then you need to do everything you can to create a structure where you're joining something, where you're setting up a regular appointment. I know some of my friends who are introverts feel better if they have a phone call scheduled with their friends. Like I do every Wednesday at 1 o'clock with one of my girlfriends, and one of my husband with one of his friends, they pick a Friday afternoon every month where they're going to meet and go for a walk and talk. And it's easier that way because then there's no pressure that one of them has to initiate it. It's just scheduled and it's already in the books. So think about how that would feel to you if you could spend more time in the friendship rather than getting to the friendship, rather than reaching out and getting there. So try to minimize that part if that part's stressful to you. And on that, I think I'll just add a part B, a part B tip. And that is, when you do have friends who reach out to you, thank them. When you do have friends who do the effort that you find hard, the number one thing you can do is express your gratitude to those friends and tell them how much it means to you. Because some of us who are initiators and some of us who are happy to reach out, we start resenting it when we feel like we might care more about the friendship than you do, or we start resenting it when we think, why do I have to do all the work? Or like, if I just didn't reach out, she would never reach out to me. And that's where we get kind of hurt feelings, is because we start believing the idea that maybe I care more than you. And that makes us scared of rejection and kind of triggers our own insecurities. And so I had a good friend who just said to me, I love my time with you. I love that you reach out to me. I'm horrible at it. Thank you for doing it. I know I need to practice doing it, but thank you for doing it. You're holding our friendship together. And I hope you'll keep doing it. Please know I love it. And it was amazing. I'm happy to. Yes, absolutely. We just want to believe that you want it, and so express gratitude and say thank you and point that out and give us permission to keep being those people. Don't put it on us that we have to do it for you, but tell us that it's hard for you and share that with us so that we know that and don't take it personally. And at the end of the day, if there's any encouragement I could give you, besides the fact that, it's important to do. It's kind of like exercise. Like, we all have to find our own way to stay healthy and burn calories. And there's no one right way to do it, but we all have to do it. Some of us are inclined to do it more than others, and some of us it might come more naturally too, but we all have to still be thoughtful and mindful of that. And the same is true of our social health. And so we all need to figure out ways to do it. It's not a matter of to do it or not. So hopefully just knowing that, yes, it needs to be done. And yes, remember, the other thing I want to say is that the payoff comes more on the back end than the front end. So meeting strangers is not fun for anybody, I don't think. Maybe some. But many of us, it's the relationships where it's comfortable and familiar and safe and easy, and we're just sitting and we can have silences, and that's what we want. But remember, it takes a lot of meeting with strangers to get there. And so there's a lot of investment at the beginning, but don't give up, because there will come a time where you're getting so much energy back from those relationships. And that's what you want to get to. You want to pour enough in that you get it back. And so stay in it so that you get that back, and know that you have amazing skills for friendship. You may not be the initiator and the person who just likes to talk a lot, but you're the person who's going to bring vulnerability to the relationship. You're the person who's going to bring love and compassion, and you're going to bring positivity and thoughtfulness and acts of service. And there is so much else that a friendship needs, that it might take a few extroverts to get it off the ground, but you can keep it going, and you can help add so much. And so you'll both give. It'll just be in different ways. You're not handicapped to relationships. There's extroverts who have many more handicaps to building intimate relationships. That's not that. It's just each of us needs to find our own way and do it with our strengths and minimize our weaknesses, and find friends that we can explain that to and be honest with and practice with. Blessings on you. May you find many amazing people to practice connecting with. I want you to feel seen in a safe and satisfying way. Blessings.